A man in his 80s has died from coronavirus in Victoria, bringing the national death toll to 103. 20 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in Victoria overnight. Chief Health Officer Brett Sutton says isolating, testing and tracing are crucial to keeping numbers down. Reporter Zalika Rismail joins us now from Melbourne. Zalika, good morning. So take us through these latest figures.
Well, as you said, an eighth day that we've seen this double-digit increase, and sadly another death of a man in his 80s here in Victoria overnight, bringing our death toll to 20. But we've had 20 new cases recorded overnight. I'll just take you through some of those details. Now, one is a return traveller, 7 are from known clusters, another 9 have been identified through routine testing, and 3 are still under investigation. Now, several of those cases are linked to existing outbreaks. So we know that Keilor Downs family outbreak has increased by 3. Now that's now a total of 15 people. We've got another case linked to that H&M retail store in Northland, bringing that cluster to 5. We've also got another case at St Monica's College, bringing that cluster to 2. Now today we've also had a new cluster emerge out in the city's northwest at Hampstead Dental Clinic. Now that's in Maidstone. We've been told that there's 3 staff members who have been identified as recording positive tests there. Health authorities say that no patients have been identified as close contacts, but that all staff are being tested and have been identified as close contacts there. But of course, the community transmission is the most important number, and we've had 8 new cases linked to community transmission overnight. But it's not all bad news. Our Chief Health Officer, Professor Brett Sutton, had this to say on community transmission a short time ago.
There are now 241 cases that have been identified that indicate community transmission. That's an increase of 8 since yesterday. That number has been around 10 every day, but a decrease of 8 is somewhat encouraging. It certainly means that we're not getting an increase or an exponential increase in community transmission cases day by day.
And Zalika, we've seen those huge queues of people lining up to get tested. What's the situation with the capacity of officials to process all those people?
Well, that's right. It has emerged as a growing issue in the state. Now, health authorities say that the 20,000 is about the testing capacity daily. Now, we know that yesterday, for example, we had around 21,000 tests undertaken, and that's part of the strategy of the government that, as you said in your introduction, testing, isolating, in a drive in the hopes that it will bring down those numbers. But we have seen those massive queues at places like Chadstone. We've heard today that testing there has had to be suspended this morning just due to that massive demand, and health authorities are actually making more testing sites available. We know that at the moment there are about 127 sites available, in addition to people being able to go to their GPs to get tested as well. But we have out in the northwest at Melbourne Showgrounds a new testing site opening up today. Now that's specifically today for school children in the area to go and get tested. Obviously we've seen that Keilor Downs family cluster there, but obviously testing is going to be one of the key strategies that the government and health authorities are employing to make sure that we know where these outbreaks are so that we can keep them under control.
And through this pandemic, there have been thousands, probably tens of thousands of people who've flown back into Australia, Australians who are keen to get back home, but they serve their time in hotel quarantine to make sure they haven't got the virus. A heap of those people have actually had the virus, but there have been a number of transmissions from those people to security guards, and then from those security guards to their families. What's the situation with that in Victoria now, taking into account that the situation that Melbourne is in particular?
Obviously, that is emerging as quite a big issue. Now, none of the new cases today were linked to any of those outbreaks, in particular, as far as we know from the press conference earlier this morning. But obviously, it is an issue. We've had, I think it's around 18,000 people come through hotel quarantine in the state of Victoria so far. We know that there are 30 current cases in hotel quarantine, and that throughout this whole period, there's been 196 cases identified. But obviously, very concerning is those cases of security contractors and staff members at these hotels are contracting the virus, and obviously the health authorities are undertaking, they're sending out more health workers to these hotels to make sure that these protocols around PPE and I guess this infection control protocols are being undertaken and adhered to. And the government has said again this morning that they're still looking at what's happened at these hotels.
Yeah. OK, Zalika Risma reporting there from Melbourne. And so we've had figures through today from Queensland and Victoria on their coronavirus cases. Queensland, 0 new cases. So that good run continues for Queensland. The concerning situation continues in Victoria with 20 new cases. New South Wales, the number has just come through this, so this is the third state or territory for today. Initially when I heard this number it was like, whoa, 10 cases, but all those cases are people in hotel quarantine, and one previously confirmed case has been excluded after further testing. So the total number of cases in New South Wales are now 3,159. And in New South Wales there are 47 COVID-19 cases being treated by New South Wales Health, with none in intensive care. So just repeating that news that's just come through for New South Wales in terms of coronavirus figures. 10 new cases detected in the past 24 hours, and that's bad news for those people. But the good news is, in terms of the efforts to limit the spread of coronavirus, all those 10 people are serving their time in hotel quarantine. So yeah, that good news continues for New South Wales, the concerning situation in Victoria.